Now can you hear me? I'm unmuted now. Yeah, so I'm giving you all my enthusiasm and excitement, and you weren't even hearing it. That's so sad. So, all right, now you get to hear it. So we're going to talk about communities, which is one of my favorite topics. And I'm going to start out by letting our friends here introduce themselves. Let's start with Alek, and we'll just go around the room and have you guys tell about what you're doing. I would like to know who you are, well, I know who you are, but I would like for you to tell our audience who you are and exactly what you're doing as far as the game or environment that you're in.
My name's Alek. I'm one of the developers on Swordsman VR. It's been out for months now on pretty much any platform that you could play VR on except for the Quest. And we've been doing that for quite a while. It's been about 1.5 years of Swordsman, so I think that's a good premise to start with.
Chandler?
Yeah, I work for Vertical Shift. Vertical Shift is a grappling VR game. We just got out of beta about 2 weeks ago, and I work as the community manager and tournament organizer. I run events within the community and work to make sure the community is growing and going well.
That's great. Okay, and I'm Southern, so sometimes when things I say, they come out sounding wrong, and I'm almost afraid to say your name. But so Anas, is that how I say that?
Yeah, it's Anas.
Okay, Anas, thank you.
Hey, my name is Anas Siraj. I'm one of the developers for Swordsman VR, and I mainly focus on gameplay and platform integration within the team. And I mean, Swordsman out for a while, and it's dropping on Oculus today. So, yeah, that's about me.
That's excellent. Okay, Katya and Luca, let's hear about you. Try now. I hear clicking.
Okay, can you now hear
us? Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, we want to hear your enthusiasm as much as we had to hear mine.
Technology.
Sorry about that. Yes, I'll start again. So yeah, my name is Luca. I am the founder and producer at Cyberspline Games. We just released 3 weeks ago a rhythm game on Steam. The name is BoomBox. And I myself am involved into many aspects of the development. On the operational side, I do a lot of level design, system design, and game design as well. And from a team perspective, I do manage the team, and I help the team in so many aspects. Being an indie, you guys can only imagine how many things we have to juggle every day. So, yeah.
Hello, and my name is Katya. I'm the CEO and community manager at Cyberspline Games. So majority of the posts you see around, it's probably me behind, so you can always blame me. I'm sorry, it's my very first time doing something like this, so sometimes it's very exciting, sometimes it's scary, but here we are talking to you, and apparently you can hear us, which is wonderful.
Yes.
It's so funny. I think go ahead and mute. So can you mute yours, Katya and Luca? I think it gives feedback if you don't, unfortunately. So, oh no, there you go. Yeah, there you go. So it's funny when you were saying that about, people come to you for everything. This is for the other developers here, a piece of advice. You want to have a community manager, a community person as soon as possible, because you're developers and you need to stay very busy and focused on that. And if you have a community manager, a community person, then everything that people get upset about, they just go complain to them instead of you. So there's my one really good piece of advice to you today. Just get a community manager. It doesn't even matter if they do anything. They can just get all the complaints and take that off your plate. So I think Katya can definitely relate to that. I'm not even a community manager, but I help with a lot of communities, and people definitely come to you with all the problems when they see you as that main face out there. It's kind of fun though. I would like to know, specifically what your very first community looked like. And if this is your first community, that's great. Tell us about maybe how it started and what you're doing to develop the beginnings of that community. You know, like we see in the spring, plants that rise up and become beautiful flowers or bushes or trees or whatever. I want to know about your community in that regard. So, Enes, let's start with you, please. You and Alek, if you need to kind of tag team on that.
Yeah, Alek, you want to start with how we started off?
Yeah, I mean, our community started out of necessity. It was a few years ago when we started doing alpha testing for the first time with our games. And it turned into like a very small and intimate private community. We had private chats where they would learn things about the game that nobody else knew, and they could test it daily and stuff like that. And that's really how it started, this like realization in how important a community actually was. Like we weren't just people making games, we were making games for people, and it just made perfect sense. And that kind of grew. I mean, even now today, from years ago, we still have people that were in beta testing and alpha testing stages back then doing it now and playing our games now and still a part of the community, which is a really interesting way to kind of start from there and boom.
Yeah, and we do a lot now. We focus a lot more on it now than we did before, just because now we have a community manager, Almir, who helps us engage with our social media. And we come up with creative ways to make sure the community, we have a Discord community and it's not, or a Discord channel, and it's not just about the game itself, but it's about VR in general. And we want to engage all those audiences. And we do a lot to help them, help people out by doing giveaways, random giveaways here and there, and different contests.
Go ahead, Chandler.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The first community I was ever part of was the Smash community. I used to be super huge into the Super Smash Bros. Community, and I started the Smash team at my college, and it just started with like friends that I enjoyed playing with, and we expanded from there to other people on campus who enjoyed playing Smash. And then from there, I moved on to the vertical shift community and to like the VR community as a whole. And at the start, it's always like one like 12-year-old kid who just is insane about your game, who wants to know everything about it and who wants to play it constantly. And seeing like the joy that I can bring to one person is like the inspiration to be like, man, I wonder if I can get like more people like that. And like at the beginning of this year, we had this insane day where we got over 500 people to join our Discord. And then suddenly you start seeing like more and more of these like 12-year-old kids, and they're just as excited as the ones that were like at the beginning. And then like they're meeting these other people who are like super excited about the game too. And it's like, it feels great just like knowing that you're like building community of these people who are just enthusiastic and stuff. And it's just, I don't know, I like that. And I like that, seeing that growth as a community manager, and that experience and interaction between people.
I think it's funny. I want to interrupt real quick and say, I think it's hilarious that when you were talking about Smash at first there, Chandler, immediately I was thinking of Smashbox Arena from Big Box VR because I never ever played games before VR, and so all my relation in regards to game, I automatically associate to VR stuff. And so I was sitting here thinking, oh wow, he plays Smashbox Arena. But and another interesting thing about the community, you mentioned about 12-year-old boys, I actually do a lot with communities in general, and that's my whole field and area. And we're seeing a lot more older people come into VR, and not just older people, but older women, specifically women over the age of 50, which is fantastic. I mean, this is such a huge population of people right now. But I did a training, like a ladies' night out a few days ago, and I do so sometimes, and I've noticed like at a lot of these events, just to give you an example from one ladies' night out, it was a small group that night. We only had 7, but of those 7 people, 5 of them were over the age of 50, women over the age of 50. And these are people brand new coming into VR, and they absolutely go out there and literally we're like 12-year-old boys. All we do is talk nonstop about the games. And so, you get you guys, where you traditionally thought of those young boys and they'll promote your game to the high heavens. What you also need to focus on is women whose kids have left home, or they just haven't left home and we've stolen their headsets. And you have free marketing, like as long as you could want it. So.
Oh no! Yeah, no. Over the spring break, I finally got my mom to jump into VR, and she said, "Man, the second I get the stimulus check, I know exactly what I'm going to be spending it on." So yeah. I get what you mean.
It's excellent. Okay, so Katya and Luca, I want to hear if this is your first community, hear about it, and what you think about some of those comments too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll introduce you guys first about our own experience, what happened to us in general. We've been obviously gamers our whole life. All of us, basically, from the developers to all the support team that worked with us, we're super fortunate that basically all of us are gamers. So in our case, we didn't really want to target, a starting point for a community that was forced into having to advertise for a game that we're releasing or anything like that. So for us, it was completely organic. We were just playing our games regularly at night. We've been playing, we played so many games, but Warcraft, we're still playing World of Warcraft, the Burning Crusade, the old expansion. We've been playing Diablo 2, Diablo 3, Phasmophobia, Hearthstone, like Magic, whatever game, you name it. We were just playing and getting together at night. And for us, and for most of these people, it was a hub. It was a place where we could just get together and chill, basically. We were watching movies, we were talking about games, but we never really wanted to have the community to start because of a specific purpose. Was more of a way for us to connect with other gamers. And then slowly, the community started to realize, hold on a second, these people are developing an actual game. And that's when a lot of more competitive gamers came in from the VR scene and starting to give us advice. And that's how basically the community got kickstarted. And it was a chain effect, because every day we saw more people coming in, generally just wanting to have fun and chill and relax and talk to us.
And I could also add to this. In April last year, I discovered Twitch. You guys, I have not used it before. And I know, and often I'm just saying, I don't know things. And so I discovered Twitch and I decided to become a streamer. So I can say the first 100 followers was really tough. I wanted to stop streaming so many times, but then it just slowly started growing and people start getting excited. I'm streaming Diablo 3 mainly. I was streaming before hardcore. Now I'm going to be streaming BoomBox, obviously. So and all those people just excited and just joining, and it was fantastic. And now our community is just insanely awesome, and they all play there. We're hanging out with them on Discord. It's just such an amazing feeling having the family. Our community is our family, and I cannot even see our life without a community anymore. And just taking this chance to even say how amazing community is and how like you need the community, so it's important to have it.
Yeah, it's so great to hear you and hear the enthusiasm. And I'm sitting here now. Remember, I've never been a flat gamer, so I apologize if I ever say anything like, what kind of game is that? If I don't recognize it, it's probably a flat game. So Katya, you have to stream more VR. We always need female streamers in VR. And there are quite a few out there, really good ones. And I've actually done a little, but my streaming doesn't work so well because I always mess up something. And the last thing I need is for anybody to be seeing me in my pajamas. But I usually just try to record videos. So I do make YouTube videos, and people love that. Like, they love that kind of stuff. We're putting out there stuff that we love and VR games that you want to learn about and everything. So please do more of that. I encourage it. And
but I feel like also just adding to this, it's kind of scary still also putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because you always expect you will do something wrong and somebody will hate you and nobody will watch you. And every time you start streaming and you're like, oh my God, nobody will be there. But they're there. Your people, your friends, they are there to support you. This green screen obviously is going to be used tonight for sure.
The thing of it is, and this is related to our talk here about community specifically. Ennis, can you mute? I think maybe, but I think specifically in regards to why you're streaming or why you put that information out there, you're absolutely right that you're always going to have people out there who are negative or say bad things. And honest to goodness, I mean, you have no idea the kind of bad stuff that I've had come through. I mean, it's just really horrid. But I don't play VR and do this for them. You know, I do this because it's the right thing to do. And I enjoy it. It's good for my health. It's a fantastic technology. And I want to tell other people about that. Like if you know a good thing or if you experience a positive, wonderful thing, it really doesn't matter what other people think. You have to just do it because you feel in your heart that you're called to do that. And so if that ends up blessing some other people or bringing them benefit in some way, then that's a fantastic thing. So I just encourage you, you know, don't even read those comments. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. And sometimes you want to see the positive stuff, but usually, you know, just sort through that the best you can. Okay. I wanted to ask you guys, as far as I think personally, what you're doing, if you were streaming BoomBox, that's a great way to get your community involved because they actually see somebody enjoying it and using it. And same thing for the others of you. What are you doing to actually involve your community on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? Like, do you have events that you do? Do all of you stream your game or have other people who do that? If they do you promote that on your social media? What kinds of things are you doing to engage your community on a regular basis? You want to start with that, Chandler?
Yeah. For us, we have a weekly play session on like Saturday, which is a great way for people to come out and get like an online, like get to the online aspect of Vertical Shift. But we also like to play games outside of VR as well, because that's a lot of times are just great ways to find a good base level for everyone to start on, like Among Us and like Minecraft, which are just widely possible or accessible for people to start playing. And just having those community events together allows people to just interact and get to know people. Because once you get a friend, it doesn't really matter what game you're playing. But once you can actually have a friend and you know that friend, you'll want to jump onto Vertical Shift and other VR games and just play together. So that's what we do. And we're just going to just now start streaming the game. We did esports events for Vertical Shift before, but we're going to try to move to also include more casual and just fun and show more off in Vertical Shift. But yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. And I will tell you, you're exactly right as far as it doesn't matter what game you're playing. We were talking in the last panel I did about we are a community. We're an ecosystem in and of ourselves. We're not talking about one specific game here. You know, like my personal goal isn't to promote one particular game or you guys individually or myself at all. And my goal is to help people realize that we're all part of a greater community. And so we can do things together. A lot of people actually, Chandler, in the various VR communities, they actually will go in and get together like every Friday night or every Saturday, whatever, and they hop around and play different VR games together. And some of them do play flat games together, even though I really hate to admit it. And so, but you're exactly right. You're doing the right thing there by promoting that overall attitude versus just say, let's hop in here and play Vertical Shift, you know, because you're building relationships and relationships in turn will come back to benefit your game. So what are you guys doing, Alek?
We actually got really lucky in that Swordsman is the type of game that is very expansive. Like there's no limit to the things you can do. And one of the biggest things that we found, or the best ways we found to engage with our community, is to involve them in that process. Like we had, you know, the base game 1.0, this is what we wanted it to be, and here's this whole thing. But ever since then, it's just been a lot of community feedback where people are able to talk to the devs on a very intimate, sort of personal level, and then see their ideas and their thoughts reflected back into this commercial product, right? Because usually, I mean, like we're all gamers, and like game devs were always these like godly beings, you know, growing up. It's like you're in their world essentially, and there was a disconnect in a way. And so now it's it's almost like that disconnect is completely broken. And you know, like sometimes we'll see people write a suggestion on Discord, and then like 2 days later, it's in the game. It's like it's a very interesting thing, and it just makes people feel very involved, and it's beneficial for everybody. That's one of the main ways. And then Anas was also talking earlier about things like tournaments, contests, giveaways. We do like a daily question and answers thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I think we stole that idea from you guys. I was on, I think, the Valve VR Discord or something, and saw that there was a question and answer daily thing. And I thought that was really interesting. It's just giving people new topics to discuss, and it kind of is enlightening almost, because we get to learn how the people we're making games for think. There's a lot of things. This is a huge topic. I don't know if Anas, do you have any other? Did I miss anything?
Yeah, there's a lot that we do in a day, and sometimes you miss a lot of messages. Even in our internal chats, we miss a lot of messages. And now, like, even our moderators that help us manage the server remind us, hey, like, this guy was reporting, you know, this issue, or a lot of people are wanting this feature. So we take the community's suggestion very seriously and feedback very seriously, and implement those things.
Yeah, that's great. And I loved your comment about Alek, about listening to the community and maybe implementing some of those things in the game. Mm-hmm. I've actually seen a lot of that across the ecosystem overall, where developers, absolutely, we all know developers who are more engaged and involved with their community tend to have more successful games, partly because of what you just said. The players see the feedback. You know, if you say, for example, I would really like, I don't know why this game isn't offered as you don't have a seated option, or, you know, accessibility options, or whether it be something like, it would be really cool to have this spray that you could put on this wall, this particular spray or whatever, you know, and then they add that sort of thing in. Then community absolutely loves that. And when you do that, it creates a positive cycle where someone says something good, and then others say, oh, they did that for you? That's really cool. These devs really great. Yeah. So good job on that. That's excellent. Okay, what about you guys, Katya?
For us, community is one of the core principles. We have 3 of them, and community is so important for us. And from the first day, we had multiple channels for the community to leave their feedback, and we have 3 people assigned to those, to all the feedback and all the messages. So we have a huge list, like book of all the feedback and all the ideas from the community, and we report back to them as well. We have our Trello available for everybody to see what we're working on right now and how it works. The day starts at 9 a.m. So you wake up, you open your Discord on your phone, you go through everything, you respond to everybody, and 1 hour already done. So then you start with Twitter, with Facebook, still on Discord. And in the evening, we also engage community. We actually play BoomBox together. We have a streaming channel. So, and funny thing is, when somebody starts streaming on our Discord, the gameplay of BoomBox, many people join right away. And it just feels so amazing. And also as a developer, when you do this, even more people join, because, you know, they're curious about your skills also. You know, they're judging you also a little bit. It's like, oh, you're a developer, you can never beat anybody. So we actually, you know, train a lot with that, because we don't want to be somewhere, nowhere to be seen. So we really push for leaderboards, and some of our developers are top on the leaderboard, which is awesome. Yes. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, I was going to add. So there's a lot of events actually going around for us. I'll mention some of them. For example, something that I personally enjoy a lot is not related to games at all, but we're watching movies together. We put movies on, for example, on any person. We can put a movie on Discord. They start streaming it, and everybody can jump in, and we're just watching the movies. Or, as she mentioned too, there is a pretty high level of participation when it comes to having the community be involved in the design. We had meetings where basically the entire core team of developers was on a call, and that call was open to the community. So we had people coming in and telling us what they would like to see, how they would like to ship the game, what do they think about a specific feature, how would they want to change it, and all these things. That's been a reality for us since the beginning. Or in some cases, what we do as well, we basically the whole team, the development team, during COVID, we all been working together on Discord. We open that access to also people from the community, and it's not that they have to be participating, but they're there with us. And sometimes we just stream what we do, and they love to see that. And they're there saying, oh, that's how you make a level. That's how you code the system. That's how you do these things. And they're really, really appreciative of that. And the input that has been given, it's unbelievable, honestly. Like, you would think, okay, this is a very technical aspect, but no, they do know about that too. And they're super excited to share their opinion. Mm-hmm. So their participation has been key. And then one last thing, otherwise I'll talk forever about these things, but is we also open up a branch on Steam for a beta. So every time there is an update, every time there is a hot fix or an initial patch, before we releasing that to the public on the live access, we share that beta updates to the community. So they can go in, test with the beta, and they immediately come back to us and tell us, hey guys, before you release, maybe you want to take a look at this, maybe you want to tune this differently. So basically they work with us as developers. And I know it sounds crazy, but that's what's happening.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I mean, I'm not a developer, and it's kind of funny. I get similar things to what you were talking about, Katya, but like I'll have people, literally I opened up my Discord this morning, there was a challenge on there from a young man in Echo, and he was saying, I hear that you're the best bruiser in the game. I want to challenge you. It cracks me up. I'm just like, well, I can't do it today, but so, it's great to see that interaction and people, paying attention to what you do and stuff. I was actually thinking whenever I was looking over you guys' profiles before this, that Luca, you're exactly right. We could go on about this topic literally all day. Like, this is probably one of the best topics, I think, for a panel. And it could be something broken into like a day-long session versus, an hour-long session. But one thing that I did want to touch on, and you guys mentioned this a little bit, but you didn't go into detail. So it's time to get real here. I want honest answers on this. Okay. So Chandler's going, oh no, I'm already getting nervous. So I personally spend literally like nonstop. My phone is on and my computer is on. I rarely sleep, and I don't do anything else except this because I love it. Not because I have to, but because I love it. But I do think that some people actually have, children and lives and boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff like that. So I would like to know, and actually I'm sure some of our viewers would be interested in, how do you balance out that? I mean, we literally get Discord messages, and you could be on Twitter, and it's as my daughter says, don't fall into the hole of the internet. I mean, you click on one thing of social media and all of a sudden you're on there for 3 hours. So how do you balance out managing the community, answering those questions, and engaging with still actually doing your work as a dev? Anybody pop in? Somebody volunteer to go first.
We can go first. Yeah. So to answer your question, how do you balance? You don't, at least for us. We do not balance it. But at the same time, we were able to create this, as you mentioned, Sonya, this ecosystem. And it's self-sustainable as it is right now. So in most cases, we can take a break. Katya will go more in details, but we have our moderators and people that are supporting the community. But for us, we're basically full on, and that's our lifestyle too. So it's really not a big sacrifice wanting to play a game or develop a game. It's coming from passion. So it is not an issue at all.
Yeah, we're gamers. We always play video games. We're always out there. And I'm glad, well, there are no children yet. So there is more time to dedicate to the gaming. And then obviously it will change in the future, but not yet. And also I wanted to say that I never thought that community would be so amazing that they even volunteered to become moderators. So we have 7 moderators who take care of our community and answer questions and assign roles and check everything. And so actually this helps a lot. Otherwise, I don't think I would be even here. I would be just already on Discord. So I would be like, no friends anymore. So yeah, they help so much. Like, they mainly do almost all the work right now for us with the community there. So it's fantastic. Without them, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I will say, like, one of the critical aspects is to maintain a very clean line of communication and be fully vulnerable. So many times, for example, we work crazy till Saturday. Maybe we need a Sunday off with the team to do something. And we just tell them, like, hey guys, tomorrow we won't be around. If this has happened, can you help us out? And they jump in immediately. They just want to help and support. They're like, no worries, guys, take some break. We will answer all the questions if there are any questions. We will test this for you. And they truly do. But as long as we are keeping them engaged by maintaining that level of clean communication, that's what's been helping us a lot.
there's so many things to say about all that, but one thing really quick is I love the fact that I think the others of you will get this as well. I love that your definition of taking a day off is because you need to get together with the team to do something. Totally relate to that. And everybody's like, don't you ever stop working? And I'm like, yeah, sometimes I go out and mow the yard and do yard work. And they're like, that's not a break. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. And so, that's about the most break I get. But playing VR games, you're all like, I'll go hop into a VR game. Man, that's like, to some people, they still think that's work. And I'm going, this is like the most awesome thing. We do the most awesome stuff in the world. So yeah, that's great, Luca. I liked that comment. Chandler, what about you?
For me personally, or for the vertical shift team, it's a hard balance trying to make sure you're not overworking yourself and that you are getting away from the screen. All of our devs, I mean, regularly will be like up to like 2 a.m. in the morning in the voice chat and working on something or doing something or talking about something vertical shift related. And then when like 3/4 of the team are also in school, and then everything in school is in online, like there has been days in a row where my position from here is not too different throughout the entire day. But for me personally, like the only time that I really get a good away time from the screens and everything is through like physical fitness. I like to go for runs. I like to go to the gym and and do fitness out of that. But honestly, it's not that long that I'm not in front of a screen doing something. And I think it's a good priority. I think it's not a good example for what you should be doing, but a better example of what you shouldn't be doing. Because spending your entire time in front of a screen and in VR is just not a healthy balance. Because if you've spent that much time in front of a screen, you know how bad you feel after like the 12th or 14th hour. Like the headaches start coming, and it's like, man, I probably shouldn't be here for this long straight in front of a screen. But yeah, it's definitely like a important measure that you have to work in and move towards slowly and pulling away from the screen. And I know COVID makes that like harder, but hopefully as things get better, people can better incorporate that into their life and move away from just like purely in front of a screen as their life.
One interesting thing, because you guys are developers, and so you're doing a lot of your work in front of the screen, like you say. But I didn't realize until I visited BoomBox VR in Seattle a few years ago that you actually, I know this sounds crazy, so people are going to make fun of me for this, but I actually thought that you did all the work in VR. And so, I mean, it was just like my lack of knowledge, since I didn't come from a gaming background. I thought developers somehow went into the headset and did all that. And so now with like Facebook Horizon, for example, they do that in their headset. Like they go into Horizon, put the headset on, and they build worlds. They build amazing worlds in the headset. And so that's more what I was thinking that you all did all the time. And then now, of course, I've learned a lot about coding and just all this other stuff. But it's fascinating to me that those comments, it is applicable. You do need to take time away from the screen, Chandler. You're right. And so, it's good to point that out, that sometimes you just need to maybe at least step away and rest your eyes a second. Go out and take a run. Alek and us?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I feel like the more time that goes on, the less I know what balance means. I don't know how to. It's very hard because, like for me personally, I'm usually working from when I wake up to when I sleep, and I try to disconnect if I can on a weekend, like for a day or something. I'll just completely turn Discord off. I won't even look at it. There could be a disaster going on and I won't know. Just so like that's the only way I could stay sane. But we're also super lucky to have like Amir Briliak is handles a lot of our business and finance, but he's also our community manager. And we have a bunch of moderators who it almost feels criminal because they're almost like holding the community up, It's a really tough thing to find a balance. Like it's kind of ironic too, because the idea you had that maybe devs were developing in VR. I almost feel like I'm probably in VR less than someone who's playing VR. Like a lot of it is theoretical and we're coding and stuff, and then we'll get to test it later. We don't actually, or at least for me, I don't actually spend that much time in VR, which is funny. Yeah, I don't know. Balance is really tough with something like this. If you're not working, things aren't moving, and that's a terrifying thought, especially when you have a community that's so engaged in your content, and they want more stuff. They want to experience the game more. It's a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's turned me into like a dangerous workaholic. It's been a wild ride. Yeah.
You know, one thing, and as you can share your thought, and then I'll finish up with that topic before we move on to the next question.
Yeah, work and life is difficult, right? I always tell people I work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and I work on weekends too. But
Yeah.
I think like I tend to keep the end of my night to spend time with my family, and then I always try to like every now and then I try to take vacations and then come back re-inspired, re-energized. So like. Yeah, I always try to take breaks every few months and go away for a little bit and then come back to reality.
That's
It's
really
kind of
good.
weird. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Al. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's kind of weird. For me, it's almost like the work is the escape.
Yeah.
Which I think contributes to that sort of lifestyle, right? Like, it's very relaxing, ironically. I mean, there's stress, don't get me wrong, and certain things like releases and stuff. But generally speaking, it's like an escape.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to move into there and say. I mean, because all of you are obviously younger than I am, and some of you much younger. And, whether it's your work habits or your how you look or your lifestyle, anything about you, don't let anybody else define who you are and tell you what you're supposed to be. So just because most people need to work a regular job and have a schedule and sleep at certain times and eat at certain times and stuff, doesn't mean that you do. And man, I don't let anybody else tell me what to do or when to do it as far as like how I should be doing that stuff. I love my life. I love what I do. I set my own schedule and I'm very busy nonstop every hour I'm awake because that's what works for me. I thrive in that sort of environment. And so I just encourage you, if that's the way you are, that works for your personality, then do it. And when you need to take a break, like Anas said, if you need that vacation, if you need to step away, then do that as well. But don't ever do something just because a social standard or somebody else says you're, quote, supposed to do it. And as far as what you guys are doing, and the work is always there, and having the breaks sometimes and stuff, I know that's hard, but many, many years ago, 20-something years ago, I interviewed Catherine Patterson. I'm sure you guys are familiar with some of her work. She's an author. You've heard of probably The Bridge to Terabithia. They turned it into a movie. And so she wrote that. And I interviewed her, and she told me, because I didn't have a book published yet, I was just beginning in my journalism career. And she said, there are so many people in this world with talent, so many people. She said, but there are very few people with persistence. And so whatever it is you're doing, if you're passionate about it and you love it and you're just persistent, that you are going to be more successful. And those people in your community that you support and that support you, bear in mind, they're doing that because they love you. They like you and what you're doing with your community. So don't think, wow, man, we really are taking advantage of these people. They're there and doing that because they want to be there. Okay. So I just encourage you guys with that. Just keep up the good work, and you support them and they support you. And speaking of that, that leads me to my next question. I would like to know, what are some of your community's favorite emojis or internal references or jokes or lingo, things that here's a shout out to your communities, because you have people watching this that are going to be on stream or watching on YouTube. What are some fun things about your community that maybe the rest of us don't know that you'd like to tell us about? You want to go first, Anas?
Yeah, sure. First thing comes to my mind is like I love it whenever we post announcements, the emojis everyone drops on those announcement posts. It's amazing. It's like they come up with the most creative way. They'll spell out, for example, Sinn Studio with their emojis. I love watching our announcement and the emojis on it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's like a specific emoji or something, but there is one thing that keeps coming back to haunt me. I did more dev streams before. Now we're working on stuff that's more secretive and we don't want to reveal too much, but I was doing a live dev stream once where I was making a thumbnail for one of the trailers. And I wanted it to be really badass, like it was going to be like a knight and a Viking face to face with swords clashing and all this stuff. And I just wanted to make it look very violent and stuff. But this is one of the things that always happens. Like when something's early in the process, it's hard to tell what it's going to look like later for people who aren't in the mindset or don't know where it's going. And it kind of looked romantic in that sort of early prototype stage, and somebody screenshotted it and they turned it into a whole romance thing. People were writing like little fake stories. Like it just keeps coming back every few months. Somebody will post it as a reminder, like let us not forget this. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing, but the fact that I was trying to make it really aggressive and violent, like they're Vikings and they're gonna fight each other and stuff. It was just a really funny contrast.
That sounds very, very funny. Like, honestly, that's the kind of humor I like. That sounds absolutely hilarious. I would have made something that said, like those remember Paris kind of things. Like, remember when?
Yeah.
We always have the memories of. I'm sure you can come up with some good memes. If you have people doing stuff like that, I don't know if you have it on your server, but one thing we have on the servers that I help moderate is we usually have a channel where you can have like an ask a Bane for Population 1, or we have Ask Mel for Echo VR, stuff like that. So you can ask these, and we also put memes. We have meme places so they can post those. So they like taking those things and making game posters. And then they put them there. It's really funny. So what you just described would be fantastic for all sorts of romantic game posters.
Yeah.
I'm giving your community some ideas there, Alek.
It sounds like pretty good marketing. It's a nice juxtaposition.
Yeah, it really is. Chandler?
Oh yeah. Okay. So for Vertical Shift, we've had like a couple like internal like memes and stuff, but like my favorite one personally is Larry the Drone Destroyer. Back when we had beta, we only had one mission, and it was kind of like a test mission to like get things started and see like how missions would work in the game. And the only character there was Larry the Drone Destroyer. And everyone just loved them for some reason. And then I have no idea why. Like, there's nothing like exceedingly exciting or like different about them, but they loved them so much. And then came Hyperdash. Hyperdash was releasing, and they wanted to name what their bot was going to be. And we suggested Larry Bot as the name for their like CPUs. And our community came through. They got on Twitter, they liked the post, and we ended up being like the top post for like Hyperdash, and that ended up being the name for the bots within the game.
That's great.
No, I absolutely
That's
love
great.
it.
I just saw that the other day. Literally, I just played that for the first time. I've been writing about it, and I thought, man, I got to get in and play this game. And I literally saw that. It's so funny you mention it.
No, yeah, it comes from Vertical Shift, and I love how we were just able to like input that just from the community love of the character.
It's awesome. I love that. Okay, Katya, Luca?
Yeah, for us, we have a cat in the game. So the cat is based on a real cat. And
she's around.
She looks as an angry cat. And so you can pet her in the game, and that's how she became our mascot. And so now there are lots of emojis around her, and they were sweet and so pretty, and so everybody's using it. But man, then Pogfish arrived. Pogfish arrived, and it changed everything. So we have this spam respectfully channel where people just spam Pogfish, and then we add the reactions. other pogfishes under that pogfish. And even we have emoji pog poopa right now. So we have 2 pogs. And a secret here, we have an Eastern egg pogfish in the lobby of our game. So people, if they're interested, they can go and check it out and find it.
Yeah, it's she basically nailed it. But the cat part too was a big surprise for us as well, because we did add the cat, as she said, as a mascot, but it's also serving other purposes in terms of on a technical level and an immersion and the state of flow for VR. But then at the same time, people are starting to have so much fun around that we had to create emojis, icons, GIFs, and everything around that, and the community loves that. So yeah, it's just funny to see their reaction, honestly, and I love that. I would love to see that all the time.
But pogfish is the winner.
Oh my gosh, Katya, I really just loved you before. Now pogfish, I've got to be like, no. I don't love pogfish. No, I respect the fact that people, here's the thing though, I don't love pogfish, but I respect the fact that others do. So I just kind of like try to not see it. But, you know, to each their own. That's what the funny thing is. You have all these different little things that people love. And that definitely is a thing in some of the communities I'm in as well. And I love seeing people come up with little emojis and stuff that you can use. Luca, I absolutely love that in the communities I help with, where they create emojis or GIFs or little, I guess, GIFs that you can turn into little, you know, animated emojis and stuff like that, man. It's just so much fun. And so one of the things I do with older gamers, people who literally are coming into this for the first time with VR, and I'm introducing them to these different resources like Discord and Reddit and Twitter and all this that maybe they haven't used from a gaming perspective, but especially on Discord, they have no earthly idea what any of this means. None whatsoever. None. I mean, they're literally like on Discord for the first time in their lives, as I was in 2017, and going like, what are these people doing? Like, I didn't even know what a meme was. Somebody asked the other day, some older lady, she was like, what is that? What's a meme? And so I basically explained it like this. I'm a writer. I'm a journalist. I've written books. That's a lot of words. I've written articles. That's a lot of words, but not as many as a book. And then I also write like smaller things. And so once I started using Discord, I learned that I had to go from paragraphs to sentences, and then actually learned to try to go from sentences to shorter sentences, or maybe even sentences without verbs or something, like shorter and shorter. And then I learned that, wow, man, it's even better if you can just post a meme and you don't even have to say anything. It's just a picture. You can like everything you need to say. It's right there. And so, you know, those are the kind of community things like with Alek, if your picture relates to your community and it's specific for you guys, you know, it's fantastic. So I love that you guys are doing that. All right, we only have a few minutes left. I want to hear about basically if you have any teasers or any special news, or if you have any kind of what would you like your community to know kind of things. This is your opportunity to either tell your community what you think about them nicely. That sounded weird, but you know, talk to your community, and you can either tell them something you want them to know about the future, or whatever you want. You have a couple minutes each, so let's hear you guys go on that. Chandler, you want to go first this time?
Yeah. First off, shout outs to the Vertical Shift community. You guys are wonderful. I want to shout out like Link Master, Force Bender, and Green Shadow. So many great community members. But in terms of Vertical Shift and what's coming up, gosh, I think just make sure you're looking into the skies and you are aware of what's in the skies, and just be on the watch out for the next update and what's coming forward. I can't say too much, but I just want to say that watch out and make sure you're looking into the skies.
We can go next.
Let's go.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't get that to work. Go ahead.
No worries, no worries. I mean, for us, this question is it's a little bit different because they are informed about everything that we do. They do know. Because we chat every day.
We can ask them what is coming next, you guys. Sometimes they tell us.
No, but anyway, I want to take this small opportunity to just say thank you. And I said that already to them. We wouldn't been here if it wasn't for the community, honestly. They were able to give us like honest feedback to the point that we realized that we needed to pivot and change so many things. So really, really thanks to them, we were able to hit that early access launch the way we wanted it. And then if I have to tease it something for them, they don't know. They probably know everything already because we talk to them so often. But I would say that in a few months, we will start looking at a new prototype for our second game, even though obviously we will be supporting BoomBox long term. But we already are starting to think about a second game, which will be for VR. And yeah, it'll be, we will give more information in a few months.
And I also wanted to add, again, to thank our community. Being a developer is hard. There are so many days that you question yourself and what you're doing. And the community is there, and they are so supportive and so excited and so energetic. So every time when you feel bad, you just go there and you actually, get all this energy. And this is also one of the reasons why we work so hard and so much. I could even see after the community kicked in, like a hurricane, our developers started working even harder, even more. So we're like there. We wanted to release patches every Friday because we want them to be proud of us. At the same time, wanted also to thank them. Guys, thank you so much for forgiving. Because, we don't know everything and we make mistakes, and you're supporting us and advising us. So yeah, thank you so very much. It's insane and incredible what you're doing for us.
Yeah, I mean, we learned very, very quickly when we started making games that we live and die by the community. Like we genuinely couldn't have done what we did or continue to do what we're doing without them. So we appreciate them very much. And honestly, I can't even imagine what it would have been like making games before the internet was so prevalent in our lives. Devs just had to run with things, and if you released a bad game that people didn't generally like, that's just how it was. I guess I don't know, but it's been a world changing to have a community support us like this. I don't like. There's a lot of people already know, and these next few weeks are going to be pretty crazy. Like Swordsman comes out on the Oculus Store today. I think it just actually went live, and in the next couple of weeks we're going to have the new pirate faction and dismemberment, which is something that people have been asking for a while. We didn't think it was going to be possible to do it in Swordsman, but it was so commonly requested that we just had to figure out a way. And yeah, I don't know. I guess I like what Chandler did with the look at the sky in the upcoming patches. It's funny. I guess something like that I could say is there is something in the hub that's part of the pirate faction already in the 124 patch coming out today or tomorrow. I'm not going to say what it is. Maybe it'll be an interesting find, but that's it from me.
Yeah, I think Alek hit on everything we're about to release soon. Along with that, I just want to say one thing, like throughout the whole release process, the feedback we got from the community, I mean, it has been so vital. And even like the suggestions, the things that we've been able to implement recently, like for example, the armor updates. I mean, this was we didn't even think it was possible, but we wanted to explore because people requested that. So giving time to that, to those suggestions, really helped us move the needle along for Swordsman. Along with that, we're prototyping on some new things as well on the side, along with pushing out new updates for Swordsman.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you guys, all of you. And I just realized I was sitting here as, I don't know why, it just came to me at the end. I never even introduced myself to you guys because I was doing a panel right before this one. I'm so sorry. I apologize to you and the viewers. But I am Hasko7. That's how I'm known in the gaming community. And I write under Sonya Haskins. I am the VR esports editor for VR Fitness Insider. And I also founded VR Community Builders. And so I work with the group there. We actually have we promote positive, inclusive environments for people who are interested in VR. And one thing we do is we take people like yourselves, just your games, and put your information on a page for communities so people can go there and find everything about you in one place. So your game, your trailer, your social media links and all that. So if you're interested in being on there, just hit me up and I'll be glad to put you there. It's no problem. It's free. It's just something, it's a nonprofit organization. I actually had it converted to a nonprofit because the intention isn't to make money. It's just to build these communities. I just think that VR has made such a positive difference in my life and my health, and given me access to social environments I otherwise wouldn't have. And so I wanted to give something back and basically work to try to help other people be aware that this is a great option for health and fitness and gaming and fun and everything else. So this is my most favorite thing to talk about is community. So I'm really honored to have been able to moderate this panel. So thank you guys for letting me sit here and chat with you for an hour. If anybody has any follow-up questions or anything, reach out to these guys individually or to me. I'd be glad to put you in touch with anybody. And thank you all for coming today. It was really a great panel. Thanks, guys, for doing such a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Have a good day, everybody.
Bye,
You
guys.
too. Bye-bye.